Hey guys, today we are painting this little wee sky study that I did a week or so ago. Hey guys, today we're just painting, as I said, this little wee sky study. It started off only supposed to be a sky study, so the foreground landscape that I have popped in there is let's just say wasn't exactly planned, and although it's kind of turned out okay, it's it's not exactly what I really wanted with that. I'm in the process of changing around my palette as well, and you can see I've still got black on there, and I've never used to paint with black. And I certainly don't know why I have been including it in my landscapes recently. So it's on the out, folks, unless I'm doing like silhouette stuff. So more like the one from last week or so. I'm trying to get rid of it as a desaturation tool, and maybe trying to go back to using what I should be using, which is complementary colors and stuff like that. But we'll get there. So at the moment, these next couple of paintings sort of still in a little bit of a a messy stage where I'm trying to change over what I'm doing. But I'll talk about that in a little bit when I'm doing the landscape stuff, not the sky, which is what this was supposed to be. It's why I've taken the blue all the way down to the bottom in this particular painting, because it was supposed to just be a little sky study, and then I kind of got to the end and was like, oh, let's put in some foreground and do something a little bit cool with it. So what I am doing there is just using my just a regular Filbert brush. It's my favorite one. I don't know, it's just a great brush. I like it. Got it from Kmart, I think. It wasn't very expensive. And I'm just blending some ultramarine blue and white. I didn't add any sienna or magenta or anything into the sky there in this particular painting. As I said, I was in the middle of changing around my my palette and things. So just blending in that white and the ultramarine, and I think, as you can see there, just a tiny little bit of the black in the bottom of the sky there, just to grey it out, desaturate it just a smidgen, and I've just let that dry. I've just sort of nudged in those colours. I haven't done a blend all the way over to make that gradient perfectly smooth. I actually don't like doing that very much. I like sort of nudging in that white and kind of getting a little bit of variation and things in the sky. I like doing that. And then I'm just blending up a couple of colours there for my clouds. I've got a little bit of the sienna, burnt sienna, and just a smidgen of the black in there, just to create a slightly darker, warmer but not too warm background color for the clouds, and just using a round brush there. And what I like to do when I'm putting in my my clouds and things in my sky is just do a really rough sort of kind of a plan on where I'm going to put a few of the shapes and just sort of start dotting them in. I don't start and finish sort of one cloud. I just sort of start blocking in a few of the places where I want them to be. I find if you do that, you end up with the clouds looking a little bit more random and not carefully painted like an outline, or whatever it might be. And you can kind of move them around a little bit too, like that, because clouds, you end up with some that are a little bit more fluffy and distant and not perfectly formed, and that's great. That can be your blocking ones, and then you can go back and nudge them out if you really have to with some ultramarine or something. And then just a few principles with that. Make sure you've got some clouds that go off the side of the page, and you can see here how those two sort of look like they're finishing about the same point. Over on the right hand side there, they look like they're finishing at the same point. Going to fix that, and make sure you have different sizes. If you're not working from a reference, image, clouds don't look the same. Although I was driving the other day, and I really wish I could have taken a photo of it, because there was these perfectly little lined up clouds with this dead flat base on them, and little bumps, like 3 or 4 of them in a row, and it looked so fake. I was driving past going, oh my gosh, like if I could take a photo of that to say, this is how clouds never look, haha. But I didn't. Anyway, and that's beside the point. So make your clouds different, I guess, is the point there, and you want them to sort of, and don't have one sort of big one dead in the center, just a little bit of paying attention to the the composition and things of those. And I find, as I said, if you sort of wiggle about the page, hold your brush back a little bit, and don't start and finish on one cloud, so you know, going kind of a bit everywhere there, you kind of end up with a little bit more random, because the color on your brush changes, you know, wherever you're going, and they look a little bit more natural. And then I sort of let them dry a little bit at that point, and we'll go back and just add layers and layers and soften them out and things. So I was going for some slightly more sort of hard edged clouds sort of up the top, and then I was trying to go for some slightly more, where it actually is said painting, where have I put it? I'll find it in a second. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I was going for some slightly sort of more fluffy clouds up, well, not fluffy clouds, sort of jagged edge clouds up the top, and then some slightly more fluffy rounded ones down the bottom. And because I've got that slight gradient in the sky there with that little bit more white through the bottom, it's just making that a little bit easier. It kind of looks like there's a thin film of clouds down the bottom of that sky. So it's not like a bright blue sky with blobs of clouds in it. There's a little bit of haze or something down the bottom of those clouds. As you can see there, I'm just going back, mixing between that slightly brighter colour down the bottom. And that still does have a little bit of this cyan in it, because clouds are not always straight white all the way through. I saved using the actual white you can see up the top of the palette there to a little bit later on. And some of the clouds you want to just fluff out the tops a little bit, use a little bit of water just to make those really smooth, and some of them a little bit more jagged. If you do it the same the entire way over, it looks a bit boring. So anyway, I'm just been playing around with these and, you know, figuring out what I like to do. And I think since I've done this, I've done a few more as well, and really kind of enjoying playing with them. So here was one. Here's the next painting that I will be doing. So with these clouds here, a slightly different sky, and I fixed this painting as well. This was this isn't finished. The painting isn't finished, but the sky in this was horrifically bad, and I went through and I've hang on, let's see if I put that in the center. I've gone back through and had a little bit of a play with that. I need to go back and finish the foreground and things on that, but that's okay. As you know, I've just been playing around with these. Where is it? Yeah, playing around with the skies, and just still, you know, going through and layering with acrylics. Best to sort of kind of let a layer dry and go back and put another one on top and let another one on top. It's one of the, you know, acrylics dry so quickly that you can kind of do that. And as you can see there, yeah, just keep, you know, let it dry, get it to a point where you're happy sort of with that base, and then just let it dry, go back and keep going. So I've decided for the moment that that's sort of roughly where I was going to be, and I was like, oh, let's put a landscape in the front. It didn't go very well. I didn't really have a reference image, and I didn't really know in my head what I wanted to do. I was just like, let's have a play with some colors, and I hadn't really you know, planned this very well at all, and I haven't done one with this sort of, you know, a landscape in a little while, and it just didn't really go amazingly well. We got something in the end, but I just wasn't very happy with the process. So I have skipped through a little bit of this for you. It took about an hour or so to do in total, and it is sped up, as you can see, double time, and you know, the video is only 15 minutes, so I have taken out a little bit of that for you. So with, you know, with landscapes, you're looking at making the background with a little bit less yellow in it, a little bit more desaturated, so not quite as bright, a little bit grayed out. Yellows don't travel very well. Okay, a bit too bright there. Don't travel very well, you know, from a distance point of view. So if you look at distant hills, they're either going to be sort of a you know, pale bluey grey or greeny grey colours without much brightness in them, without much yellow. And then as you know, as you get closer and closer to you end up seeing a little bit more yellow and I have a feeling there that that might be cadmium, and it's not a colour I often work with, and it's a little bit too strong for me. Another reason why I've been going back and changing my palette, going back to something that's a little bit more muted for me as well. So I've always liked working with you know, like the earth tones, so yellow ochre, raw sienna, burnt umber, obviously titanium white, and you can mix a really nice near black color with burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and get quite a nice, you know, quite a nice gray kind of tone with that. So particularly for landscapes, I don't like putting black in. I never have done it, and I don't know why I've started doing it recently. Lazy. Black has a place and everything like that, and I'm not one of these like, you can't use black people, but I was never taught to use black, and yeah, it's not really working the way I want it to, so I'm changing it. Prerogative. And I've re-added Quin Magenta back onto my palette. In fact, gone back to that little bit more of a CYMK, so it's like a tealy color and my magenta, rather than, you know, like a red, blue, yellow kind of a palette as well. Definitely keeping my ultramarine because I like it. I don't like phthalo. I don't know why. I've just got this thing about phthalo. Which brings me to the next color that I'm re-putting back on my palette. Phthalo green. I hate this color. Which is why I don't often work with it. I don't know, this green is just yucky. Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like phthalo green. I've never liked it. I certainly don't like it straight out of the tube. It's like that very, I can never pronounce it, viridian, whatever it is. I don't like the color. It's this weird sort of yucky green. But it works really well in what I'm doing. And I haven't really been talking about what I'm doing in there. Anyway, just decided I was going to put a little bit some cliffs and stuff in the front there, just to deal with the fact that the greens weren't quite working because I didn't have the right colours on the palette, and I really wasn't, you know, going to spend much more time, you know, to fix it up. Let's put some cliffs in, let's fix that. And the next couple of videos I've been working on sorting out those greens just to get them a little bit more interesting. Yeah, anyway, so I put this one back on my palette, which I hate, but it works really well, actually, as long as you mix it in with other colours and don't just use it by itself. And there's a couple of other ones which you'll see in the next video, just trying to get that palette sort of back a little bit less bright for a while. And I love this, don't get me wrong, this is probably one of my favorite ones that I have done recently, but I just want to change things up a little bit again and go back to doing some proper color mixing. I love color theory. I'm not saying I'm amazing at it in the slightest, not at all, but I've been doing a lot of research recently and rereading all my stuff that I, you know, learned a very long time ago about, you know, mixing colors, and I want to go back and you know, do a little bit with that, so that's going to be a little bit exciting. And yeah, that's the little wee one finished there. As you can see, I just put in some little clips in the front, with a couple of little spots of some greenery on it, and we're going to call that one done. So the next one is still not back with this new palette, but I have been doing this last night, completely different style actually, and I did a much looser so a much looser sort of a painting. This was last night's study, and I mean, the sky isn't quite sort of done, but I was really focused on sort of having a look at you know, receding that landscape a little bit more. As you can see, this goes back a lot further in a painting than this one does, and yeah, just wanted to have, sorry, it's coming in and out of focus there, and have a little bit of a play with that. Anyway, look, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. This is all, I guess, just, you know, experimenting and figuring out exactly what I want to do with what I am doing, and hopefully, you know, I'll find sort of that little spot somewhere where you know, I'm enjoying painting the colors and the I guess, you know, do I want to do landscapes? I don't know. Do I want to do still lifes? I'm still haven't quite, you know, found that sort of found what I want to do yet. So I'm just playing and experimenting and sharing my mistakes and things with you guys. So thanks for watching. It'd be amazing if you could subscribe, leave a like, comment. Really helps out my channel when you do those sorts of things. So anyway, happy painting for all of you that are painting, and I hope to see you in the next video. See you later.